Okay, welcome to the May 27th, 2021 meeting of the Town of Southampton Planning Board. In accordance with the Governor's Executive Order 202.1 and its related extensions, and until further notice, all of the board's meetings will be held remotely via video conference. So we ask the public to continually check the town's website for updates and new information. Gloria, may I have a roll call?
Madam Chair,
Present?
Vice Chair Finity,
Present.
the Secretary is here. Board Member Catalinato,
Present.
Member Long,
Present.
Board Member Zuccarelli.
Present.
We have a full group. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Gloria. Please join in for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have four public hearings this evening. We have applicants and members of the public standing by via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. Charles Certain will be muting and holding the speakers in a virtual waiting room until it's their time to give testimony before the board. A reminder that applicants, agents, and members of the public speaking should state their name and address for the record. A further reminder that despite the Zoom environment, all comments should be directed to the board and not to other participants. The link to participate in this meeting via Zoom can be found on the town's website. This meeting is also being live streamed on the town's website on the town clerk's meeting portal. If you're having difficulty accessing the meeting, please visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Public comments can be made via Zoom, by email, or by uploading them to the town clerk's portal on the planning board page. You will see on that page a button you can click to upload your comments. Please do not use the Zoom chat. That function to register your comments. Any comments made via the chat function will not be included in nor made part of the record. Instead, you may either speak at the hearing or submit your comments in writing after the hearing. Board members who must recuse themselves from any application will state so on the record and will be removed from the meeting until the end of the hearing. Unless otherwise stated at the end of each hearing, these applications will remain open for written comments from the applicant and the public for 30 days. Those comments can be made via email by uploading your comments on the town clerk's portal under the planning board meeting page. Additionally, in accordance with the governor's order, these hearings will be recorded and transcribed and will be made available to the public. So with that, our first application is Paul Shearer III. Do we have sufficient notice?
We do, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I will read it in.
Okay, Matthew.
Notice of public hearing, please take notice that in accordance with the Governor's Executive Order number 202.1, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, May 27th, 2021 at 6 p.m. via video conferencing to consider the construction permit application entitled Paul Shearer III. The construction permit proposes to construct an agricultural storage barn for storage with 1,200 square feet of enclosed floor area with an additional 480 square feet covered lean-to area and the legalization of an existing 54 square foot pump house shed located within an 11.3125 acre agricultural reserve created by the subdivision map of Mitchell Lane Farm, filed February 22nd, 1979 as map number 6789, located within the CR 80 zoning district, the Aquifer Protection Overlay District, the Agricultural Overlay District, and a New York State archaeologically sensitive area with frontage on Mitchell Lane and Butter Lane, situate at 285 Mitchell Lane, Hamlet of Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-68-1-3.23 by order of the Planning Board of the Town of Southampton. Gloria Burke, Secretary.
Thank you, Matthew. Mrs. Scano, are you here to speak to the application?
Yes, I am. Michael Sciano with InterScience Research Associates in Southampton at 36 Nugent Street.
Okay, tell us something about the application.
Sure. So this property fronts on both Butter Lane and on Mitchell's Lane. The proposed barn will be located, let me just get this annotate feature. Will be located equidistant from property lines in this area. The property lines to the west, north, and east of the barn are heavily screened with existing vegetation, so you will not be able to see the barn from the adjacent properties. And the barn has also, the agricultural building has also been designed to be of brown and green coloring so that it will blend in with that screening as well, which you can see here. So the barn is 1,680 square foot in footprint with an interior of 1,200 square feet, as Matt described. And there is also an attached lean-to on the south side of the building for housing of equipment as well. The barn will be used to house 2 tractors, a utility cart for getting around the property, a skid steer, a tree spade attachment, a wheel loader, some hand tools, and other various tools for use on the property in the nursery use of the property.
Is this a tree nursery?
Yes, it is. Tree and other plants.
And other plants?
Yes.
And no retail?
Correct.
Is there a bathroom planned?
No plumbing and no electricity, I believe. So no, but yeah, it will contain no electric or interior plumbing. The barn will strictly be used to house equipment associated with the nursery use on the property.
Where is the equipment maintained now?
I believe it is maintained all around the site, so in areas that are still heavily screened, but they are just around the site, outside of the like along property lines in some cases and such. So this will essentially house them and also screen them from view and put them in a place so that it's much more orderly on the site.
Do you have an aerial of the property? Okay, so this was the most efficient location for this barn in terms of access off, well, you're coming in off what, Butter?
Yes. Yeah, access from Mitchell. There is a gate here, and most of the access on this side is not used. Access is primarily used through Butter Lane, and so the current nursery use houses uses this area of the property, as you can see on the aerial. So they would have to actually disturb a lot of the planted trees and shrubs in order to build it. Where here is there are plants that have already been burlapped and balled for transport. So it would actually be less disturbance to the use of the property in order to build that barn in that location.
Okay.
Do you anticipate fuel storage in the barn?
I do not believe so. I'm going to say no. So I just so that the board knows, I have taken this project over from Lisa Poyer, who no longer works in InterScience. So I have gotten myself up to speed as much as I can at this point, and I'm using the notes that I have. But I am going to say that there is no fuel storage, because if there was, then we would have had to prepare some other permits for that. And I am going to say that we are not doing that. So.
Is there anyone here who wants to speak to this application? Matthew, do you know if anyone has registered to speak?
I have a few people.
You do, okay.
You're on mute, Matt.
David is first.
Hear me now. This is the pump house structure, Jackie. I know you had inquired as to the look of it. 50 square feet. This just houses their existing irrigation well. As far as
So you can talk with them.
I don't have anybody. I'm not sure.
I'm just talking.
Can I speak?
Yes, please. David
Um,
Sealer, David Sealer, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm David Sheeler. I live on 514 Sagaponic Road. And I have been asked to speak for Graham Hotchkiss, who is unable to speak as a result of a stroke. His bedroom is about 150 feet from the noisy landscape contracting business part of this operation. His lot is lot number 1 on your map.
Can we have that up? Matthew, can you put that up?
Yep.
Okay,
Top right is number 1.
okay. And
That's it.
his bedroom is how close? 100 and?
About 150 feet from the line.
Mhm.
And, you know, this is not a screening issue. I know the gentleman was mentioning that this area is well screened in. It is a noise issue
Uh-huh.
because when equipment is started at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and deliveries occur, I think it boils down to being a bit respectful of one's neighbors. And that has not happened. They have built illegal buildings which had to be removed. They installed gravel crushing machines which had to be removed and masonry supplies. So all of this has been removed apparently by the building inspector's issue of summons. So it's not an ag use nursery. It is a landscape contracting business. Noise is unbearable at 4:35 a.m. when trucks back up and deliveries occur. You've probably heard that noise from your local UPS driver. It goes something like this. Beep, 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 and can drive you crazy just listening to it. If Mr. Shearer has no idea what this level of noise is like, I'd be happy to send a few trucks to his home at 4:30 so he could experience the noise. I'm sure he would be shocked.
Mm.
Also, a steel building would permit all year use of the site with engines going inside. The noise would be compounded rather than a wood building which absorbs the sound. I believe the new building should be located away from the residential areas along the Hayground school border with access off Mitchell Road and close the access off Butter Lane, which is more populated. No one is at school at 4:30 a.m. I have to say that Martyrs has respected the town zoning by keeping his growing nursery at the main garden center and moving his landscape contracting operation by the railroad in an industrial use area. Credits to Mr. Martyr. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there someone else who's waiting to speak?
I see no other hands.
Okay, Mr. Shiano? Do you
Yes.
Now I
want-
see a hand.
You see a hand. Okay, hang on for just a sec. We'll get you back.
Nina. She's coming in now.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello?
Put your
Yes.
video on, please.
I'm not looking perfect though. I don't look
Oh.
gorgeous. Okay, I'm trying to, okay, here is my family, my son and I, and we have,
Can you give us your name and address?
oh yeah, sorry, Nina Frand, Giancarlo Impilia, Christopher Impilia, 333 Mitchell Lane, Bridgehampton.
Okay.
Yes, and our concern is also with the noise levels, especially if it was just suggested that things would be moving over to Mitchell Lane. So we're at lot 14. And even from where we are, we hear constant that beeping, the backing up. We hear the tractors, the music from the workmen. And our concern is that this is going to just exacerbate the problem beyond just the building of the barn itself, but just that basically what has just been said, the amount of movement of the heavy machinery, because there doesn't seem to be any sort of restrictions on the type of machinery that's being used, because we also hear everything.
Gas
So,
blower.
between this and the landscaping business everywhere else and people's properties, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
Matt, could you point out lot 14, please?
This one right here, going to sewer
Thank you very much. It's just,
Not there.
it's
Yeah.
malspent.
There seem to be no restrictions. They start earlier than 7 a.m. and just start cutting and drilling and those kind of things. There's zero restrictions. We're noticing people on the property picking out trees. So it has become somewhat of a commercial entity. It is not just private and growing trees and then maybe your landscaper can come and pick out something. It's become open to the public type of
Often
property.
past 7 o'clock too, we're still hearing trucks moving around and things being chopped. It's definitely an issue.
Have you made any noise complaints to code enforcement?
Yes, we have.
So they're
Yes.
documented.
We don't know if they've documented. We've certainly complained. We even wrote an article that was published last year, 2 of them, about the noise coming from this entire area.
And are you saying that there's retail going on here?
I'm not sure if the word is retail, but we do see people looking like regular people walking and picking out trees. We do see that. And I think that makes it a different type of property. And it's not just for growing these beautiful lush trees. It's for people coming and maybe picking out a tree for their property. Now, when they talk about having being shaded and we're protected and not being able to see the barn in the winter, we live here in the winter as well. Everything clears out. The privets that are here die down, and all we see is sort of a web of leaves and trees. But we are mostly, it is mostly visible, the property that is behind us. And we've been here for a very long time. We objected to the barn years ago. We got lucky and saved for a few years, but they are now proposing it once again. And we have been here since 1991 when our kids would walk through the fields and be safe and feel very comfortable. Now it's just noise, noise, noise. It's not beautiful. It's not private. We don't feel as safe because there's just so much traffic every single day, including Sunday. And we do hear the gravel trucks. And we thought it was going to be a reserve, whatever that word means. It certainly isn't.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments. Let's see if Mr. Sciano, do you have?
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have something to, some responses to some of the questions about the fact that it's a landscaping contract business and not a tree nursery?
I do not have any specific comments about the specific use of the site. I can only comment on the fact that the barn itself will be not within the view shed of these people who have spoken, and that the starting up of any equipment would be muted to some extent by having the equipment housed within the barn. I
don't think so, Mr. Sciano. I think.
No, I understand. This is all I can say to that effect. If the board has and the members of the public have some issue with the current use and the noise level at certain times, then I can bring this information back to my client. And if the board has alternate locations for the barn, then please feel free to suggest them.
Okay, we will. Anyone else, Charles? If not, are there any comments from the board?
I see no one else.
Do we know any hours of operation here? Matthew, you can take the aerial down.
Jackie, not off the top of my head. I can certainly find out what they're operating as, what times they are. Other than that, it's agricultural as a
nursery. Can we qualify that? What is it? What is the CVO or the operation supposed to be?
It's agriculture. I mean, a tree farm and nursery stock is considered agriculture. So this is essentially a working farm, as far as I read it.
But not a landscaping contract business where.
No, which I don't have any. I mean, I hear what the public is saying. We can certainly look into the complaints. I know there were several complaints on the properties over the past few years that have been rectified by removing the structures that were not legal. So it looks like, this is the, means to legalize some of the operation on the property. But I'll see what code enforcement has in terms of complaints.
Okay, and will you check the hours of operation too? I mean, 4:30 in the morning, operating heavy machinery is unacceptable.
Wrong.
Yeah.
What's occurring on this, the essential problem here, and you should know, is agriculture is an industrial process. It's an industrial process. And normally there's usually we segregate industrial uses. We put them into light industrial, LI 40, LI 200. With agriculture, not only do we plunk them into residential zones, but these lots are sold as premiums for the agricultural views. And that's the problem. And the agricultural lobby, not so much here, but a certain amount here, but upstate essentially has lobbied vociferously to preclude any meaningful regulations of agriculture. So they can start their tractors up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Dust, noise, it's all allowed. And that's, that's the quandary.
Yeah. Okay,
But
so
if they're operating a special trade contractor, they're in violation.
Yes.
right. Well, that's what some of these
that's the question.
farms are morphing into. We've seen it before.
Yeah.
In this particular area, and
Well, that's an enforcement issue.
yeah. But as this woman said, they have filed complaints, but there has to be much stronger code enforcement because people have to be able to live their lives around an ag reserve. So you'll take all of these back, please, to your applicant, Mike?
Yes, I will. I guess my question would be, while I completely understand wanting to define more specifically what the use is and what the use should be under the CO.
That's right. And then the hours of operation.
Correct.
And
Correct.
are they in there creating and chopping up gravel and cement?
Right. This specific application is for a construction permit for an agricultural building. So I guess I would just like to ask the board whether they have any specific comments about the location and or design of the agricultural building as we have currently proposed it.
The question is becoming, Mike, whether this is an agricultural building or a building accessory to a landscaping business. So that's why I think the other question should be answered.
Of course.
And then
thank you very much.
Get to that next question.
Okay.
Yeah, the building itself is a pretty straightforward building. I mean, I asked you about retail because it looks like it's all set up with the overhang. For display of retail produce.
We only have the information that's in the application, Jackie. I'll certainly talk to Mike about what's going on there.
Okay.
The first speaker made a really valid point though regarding materials used. Metal certainly will reverberate motor vibrations a lot more than wood would.
Yeah, as far as I know, the metal buildings that we typically have approved, Craig, they are insulated. They're double walled. But I'll find out more specifics.
Okay, so no further comments, so then we'll close with a 30-day written comment period. So please get your letters in. Can we get this off the screen?
What do you have?
I believe Nina's video is pinned.
I don't have that.
I'll take care of
I
it.
won't say anything except the Zoom boxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not on my end.
Okay.
I'll take care of it.
Okay, so 30-day written comment period. I think I heard Dennis make that motion, and second, Zuccarelli, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you very much.
Thank you. Number 2 is Alexander Freeland. Do we have proper notice, council?
We do, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Jackie, do you want to read that into the record?
Yes, and Charles, could you let in the applicant Madeline Van John? She's the attorney on the application. So I will read, please take notice that in accordance with the governor's executive order number 202.1, a public hearing will be held by the town of Southampton Planning Board on Thursday, May 27, 2021 at 6 p.m. via video conferencing to consider the pre-application entitled Alexander Freeland. The pre-application consists of a standard plan with 2 lots. The existing parcel was previously known as Lot 2 on the subdivision map of the estates of Charles Vanderveer Jr. West Parcel, filed with the Suffolk County Clerk's Office on July 16th, 1987 as map number 8348. Proposed Lot 1, a flag lot, contains 130,935 square feet, 42,150 square foot flagpole with an 88,785 square foot bulk area and fronts on Mill Path and Daylily Lane, sorry. Proposed Lot 2 contains 117,048 square feet and fronts on Mill Path, situated in the R80 zoning district located at 85 Daylily Lane within the hamlet of Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-382-9, by order of the Planning Board of the Town of Southampton, Gloria Burke, Secretary.
Okay, Ms. Van John?
Good evening, Madeline Van John, Tarbert and Lester, PLLC, 132 North Main Street in East Hampton. So basically what we're proposing here is a 2-lot subdivision. Right now the lot is improved with 1 residence and some accessory structures, and those are all proposed to remain on one of the resulting lots. And this lot was part of a previous the applicant previously submitted for a subdivision a few years back in 2011. The pre-application report was completed. Just wasn't, the applicant didn't follow through. So basically what we're proposing is essentially the same thing as what was proposed back then. The lot does have a long flag strip for access out onto Daylily Lane. At the time it was originally created, Mill Path, the road to the north, was not yet in existence. But now we're proposing that both of the lots will take access from Mill Path now that that road is there. Other than that, I think that's pretty much the overview. I can answer any questions that anyone has.
What's the zoning here?
The zoning is, it's CR 80, I believe. Sorry, it's R80.
Are there steep topos in this area, or is it once you get up that hill? Is it it's flat up there?
I think the topography is on there. It's not very steep in that area now.
Okay. Let's see if there's anyone from the public here. Charles, is there anyone with a hand raised?
Nope, no hands.
No hands. Any questions from the board? It's pretty straightforward. So I'll have an entertain a motion for a 30-day written comment period. From Dennis, second by Zuccarelli, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. The next is 890 Scuttle Hole Road LLC. And do we have
We have
notice?
proper notice, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, and Charles, Rob Fischetti is here for this one. I'll read the notice. Notice of public hearing. Please take notice that in accordance with the governor's executive order number 202.1, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, May 27th, 2021 at 6 p.m. via video conferencing to consider the pre-application entitled 890 Scuttle Hole Road. The application proposes the subdivision of a 93.951 acre property into 6 lots, currently improved with a single-family residence and several barns, located in the CR 80 zoning district, agricultural overlay district, aquifer protection overlay district, and partly within the archaeological sensitive area, located at 890 Scuttle Hole Road, Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map numbers 900-49-1-8.8, 8.7, 8.9, 8.10, and 8.11. By order of the Planning Board of the Town of Southampton, Gloria Burke, Secretary.
Thank you. Mr. Fischetti?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Robert Fischetti on behalf of the applicant. Can I, if it's okay, I'll share my screen to bring up the map?
Sure.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Okay, so hopefully you can see the map here. So this is a pre-application hearing. This is a 6-lot subdivision, which is a little bit deceiving because really we are creating one new lot. There is on the street front on Scuttle Hole Road, there is, as Anthony mentioned, a house with a certificate of occupancy for the home, the pool, and there are also some barns on the property. The property is in total 93.951 acres. It's zoned CR 80. The property was originally divided by a minor subdivision in 1976, which I have here. They sort of abbreviated the farm parcel, but it does extend all the way back. Now, the subdivision was just to separate the front lot off, and then at some point, or not at some point, in 1982 and in 2007, the development rights for the lot, what appear on the map as Lot 1, Lot 2, Lot 3, and Lot 4, were transferred out to the town of Southampton and to the county of Suffolk. It was done without any subdivision approval to actually divide the lots. So those lots were given tax map numbers, but we have included them in this subdivision map in order to clean that up as part of the process. Really the ultimate, primary goal is the creation of one additional lot on the street front. It's a potential of 4 lots. They really just want the one on the front. It's, for long-term estate planning purposes, there's no immediate plans for development or anything like that. There would be a variance required for the, I'll just zoom into it. There is a potato barn here that is at the moment part of the street front lot, that in order to sort of create the lot lines around it, it would require setback relief to 10 feet for what would be side and rear for that. And then we would, of course, also have to go back to the county to just, part of the development right cleanup is that they made some sort of odd shapes when it comes to the lot lines. You can see a little better on the aerial from the GIS, where there's this sort of extra piece here, and there's no access on the southern side. Our map proposes an access point here on the southern side, so we're trying to clean that up as well. And I did speak to 2 of the neighbors. I spoke to Mia Karat, who owns on 638 Noyak Path, which is back right just opposite of Lot 3, I believe. And I provided her with a copy of the map and explained to her that, you know, there's no change, particularly on that side of the map. It's really just a lot line correction or cleanup. I also spoke to Brian DeSessa, who represents the owner of 901, 939, and 1011 Scuttle Hole Road, which is on the other side of the street over here. It's the golf course, the private golf course property, and which I believe are these three here. And he did not believe, I mean, we'll see if he's here, but he did not believe that his client had any major concerns. But I provided him with a copy of the map as well, and did not hear anything further from him. That's all I really have. No roads or anything proposed, just simply one additional lot on the street front and some cleanup of the farmland lots.
And formalizing the meets and bounds for the development rights, I would think.
Yes, correct. Yes.
What is the ownership pattern of the lots, the development right lots? Is it one owner that owns those 4 lots?
No, it is separated. Let's see. Owners are, so tax lots 8.7, 8.9, and 8.10 are owned by 890 Scuttle Hole Road LLC. And then tax lot 8.11 is owned by trustees on behalf of the Benjamin Conklin Cooper Trust. And then there is another LLC that owns 8.6 and 8.8, the Conklin Strong Farm LLC. So they've been kept in separate ownership. They are all, it's really all the Conklin family, and generally for the, the beneficial owner is the Benjamin Conklin Cooper Trust. But a lot of these past decisions, really all the development right decisions were done when there was slightly different ownership. So we're just trying to clean that up as well for future estate planning.
But these parcels were not created by the town, by the planning board. Is that correct?
That's correct. They were, I'm not sure how, but in the 82 and 2007 development right transfers, they somehow ended up with tax map numbers, but that's it. Otherwise, they just trace back to to this minor subdivision map, and that's all.
So the way you get separate tax map numbers is you draw your own map, and back then you just draw your own map and file it with the county. The problem I have with this whole configuration is that the objective is to keep agricultural tracts in a single ownership. Once you start dividing these agricultural tracts into small little pieces, they can be conveyed out, and the chances of them being used for agriculture diminishes, especially the smaller parcels. They become little flower field or a lawn or something, as opposed to this area is characterized. It's one of the last areas in the town where you have row crops, corn, potatoes, and you have a situation now where these are going to be conveyed out at some point separately. They could be. They're in separate ownership now, and that's a real problem I have with this configuration. It was an illegal subdivision back in the 80s, and we're sort of putting our stamp of approval on an illegal subdivision. I don't know what our options are. I mean, I'd have to explore that with Kathleen, but we're sort of blessing, putting our blessing on something that was done completely contrary to town planning goals.
And how would the town have bought the development rights, Dennis? Did they know what they were?
Yeah, but when we keep an agricultural tract, we have a large tract. We don't divide it up. We go through great pains to actually keep them intact. We don't allow, the breakup of these large tracts. And
I
then
get it.
parceled out
Anthony,
and they're done.
Anthony, do you know if the town bought the development rights after it was divvied up this way, or?
They didn't.
They didn't. Oh, okay.
Let's ask that question.
I think, how it happened, and I think some of the development rights sales were a joint effort. Like I think one of the properties, I think development right sales were both the town and the county. My guess is, and I can't say this for certain, but I mean, obviously we'll look at it. I have to do a pre-app report, but my guess is that, the town and the county, went into an agreement to purchase development rights in sections like this over different, time periods. And then what happened was that, and the family owner at the time drafted up deeds to sort of coincide with what happened on development rights sale.
And the county recorded those deeds, which they would never do, even after 1990. They would never do. They put you through the ringer. But back then, these exactly what you described, Anthony. They were parceled out with meets and bounds descriptions, and based on that, deeds were drafted and recorded by the county, and that's how they became in separate ownership.
So without an underlying subdivision map, right? Without any kind of underlying map.
Some of the deeds were done in 2007, though, if I remember correctly.
2007.
Yeah, I can look into see what the ownership was before, before the 2007 and before the 1982. How if there was any difference in ownership, or if it was all still one piece.
I don't know what our abilities are from a legal standpoint to require that they be conveyed out. If they are conveyed out, be held in some sort of joint ownership. We've had situations where we had a large agricultural parcel. I'm thinking of the one on New Light Lane, where a road, the horse farm, Jack, you'll remember, Campbell Ranch, where a road had cut into the tract, and then there was a small, 3-acre parcel, and we required by covenant that the small parcel be held in the same ownership and conveyed out with the large parcel. That farm actually is for sale, and the smaller parcel, ironically, goes along with the sale. So, but I don't. I think we're gonna have to talk to Kathleen and see what.
It's a tricky situation, yeah.
Right. This is a situation where they're already owned separately.
You're right. Exactly.
But I understand the concern. I understand. So I'll find out what the ownership was before.
Okay, well, we have to have our council take a look at it, and you can as well.
Okay, I understand.
Okay. Is there anybody who would like to speak to this? Charles, do you have any hands?
No hands.
No hands. Okay, so any other comments? Dennis, okay, you're good?
Good.
Yeah. All right. So hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for a 30-day written comment period. Dennis, second by?
Second.
Okay, second by Gloria, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Rob. Okay.
And then we're up to our final application, Burke. We have notice.
We have proper notice, Madam Chair.
Okay,
sorry about that. Sorry, Kathleen. I think Kyle is here. I think Edward Burke is here as well. And there might be some members from the public as well. So let me read the notice. Notice of hearing, please take notice that in accordance with the governor's executive order number 202.1, a public hearing will be held by the Southampton Town Planning Board on Thursday, May 27th, 2021 at 6:00 p.m. via video conferencing to consider the pre-application entitled Burke. The application proposes to create a total of 13 dwelling units, 2 of which will be community benefit units, to be located in multifamily manor houses on a 2.489-acre tract currently improved with a single-family residence situated in the Hamlet Commercial Aquifer Protection Overlay District and New York State Archaeological Sensitive Area, located at 3310 Noyak Road, Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-14-1-66.5 by order of the Planning Board of the Town of Southampton, Gloria Burke, Secretary. I'm going to attempt to share my screen, but I'm on my own computer and I sometimes have problems. Do you see that?
Yes. No, that's the other one.
That's the other one. That's okay.
You got it.
Actually, can you share the screen with me? I have a little PowerPoint if you'd like.
Do you have a PowerPoint presentation?
I do.
Oh, so you can share screen.
Yep.
I'll stop. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, now I gotta do it. Hold on.
Go too fast.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, good evening. Kyle Collins, KPC Planning Services, 16 Library Avenue, West Hampton Beach, here on behalf of the applicant, 3310 Noyak Road LLC. The subject of the application is approximately 2.5 acres located on the southeast corner of Berkshire Road and Noyak Road in Noyak. This property is zoned Hamlet Commercial or HC. It is currently developed with a single family home, pool and garage. The surrounding community is a mix of zoning designations with R40 and R80 to the east, the west and south respectively, and Hamlet Office and Hamlet Commercial to the north and east respectively. These areas are substantially developed with single family homes to the south and west and mixed use development to the north and east. The proposal is for a density incentive subdivision, creating 13 units, 2 of which will be community benefit units in accordance with the requirements of Chapter 292, as well as Chapter 330, Section 9 of the Town Code. Hold on a second. Next map is a yield map. The yield map illustrates conforming lots under the the HC zoning designation. This lot or map actually illustrates 8 lots with a park as required under 292. However, as typical of the planning board on other applications where they find that a park is not required, there's also a 9-lot plan which puts that park area into an additional lot. The argument as it relates to the need for a park in this area within 1,000 feet is the Trout Pond Park. That park is over 40 acres, does have parking facilities, does have the pond. So there is a substantial recreational facility within less than 1,000 feet of the subject site. In addition, I reviewed both the comp plan as well, the 99 comp plan, as well as 2004 Noyak Hamlet study area, neither of which recommends a park facility in the Hamlet Center or within proximity of this site. That gets us to a 9-lot plan, converting that the park area into an additional park. So the yield map actually shows a 9-lot yield map without a park. Based on that yield map and pursuant to Chapter 330-9 D, which is the standards for creating affordable housing, getting increased density, which allows you to increase the density by 50%, of which that increase 40% has to be affordable. If you see the table in the lower left-hand corner, it runs through those calculations. So a 9-lot yield, 50% increase would be 4.5 lots. Obviously, you can't get a half a lot, so you get 4 additional lots for a total of 13. Of those, 40%, a minimum of 40%. So you those 4 additional lots results in the requirement of providing 2 affordable units. So resulting in 2 affordable or community benefit units as defined and in the code, as well as 11 market rate units for a total of 13 units. The concept for the redevelopment of the site looks at the existing features of the site, particularly the historic home is proposed. It was built in 1914. It's proposed for adaptive reuse to renovate into 5 units. Those 5 units will consist of 3 2-bedroom units and 2 1-bedroom units. And then manor houses, 2 new manor houses constructed on the western portion of the site, 4 units apiece in those manor houses. In the upper left and right-hand corner, upper right-hand corner is a photograph of the front elevation of the existing house. And the left-hand corner is kind of the precedent images that we utilized for developing the front facades to be keeping with, somewhat of a traditional architectural style, something that you would see very familiar and compatible with traditional architecture in the area. The 4 units in the 2 new units, the bedroom mix in there, there will be 3 2-bedrooms in each and 1 bedroom. So there'll be a total of 9 2-bedroom units and 4 1-bedroom units for a total of 22 bedrooms. Again, this just illustrates, again, that a blow up of that picture. This is actually a 4-bedroom, a 4-unit multifamily structure that we utilize for taking the precedence. Based on that, here are the elevations for one of the new units. Whoops. It's the elevation of the second new manor house. And then there's a locational standard pursuant to 330-9D and 1E, and that states the density incentive affordable shall only be authorized in those hamlets where the population density is equal to or less than 50 persons per square mile.
500.
500, excuse me, persons per square mile, exclusive of the land owned by state, county, or town for open space. The map that's shown here is prepared by the town, GIS, utilizing those standards as shown. The density, population density is for Noyak is 409 persons per square mile or less than the 500 to qualify for a density incentive application. So that is a rundown of the details for this pre-application. And if you have any questions, be happy to, or open it up to the public.
I do, Kyle, and we asked this question when you came in earlier. What's the ownership?
The ownership?
Yeah.
You mean of the current property?
No. In other words, are these going to be rentals? Are they going to be condos, co-ops, private residents?
No, we're asking for a condo subdivision. It's a subdivision, so each of the units will be condoed. Whether they're rented or sale, I think in the short term or relative short term, they are going to be rentals. Maintain current ownership of all the condo units, but that's not to say sometime in the future that they could be sold. But there will be a condo association filed with the Attorney General's under the requirements of the Attorney General's office in Department of State.
You showed a visual of the proposed architecture of the main manor house that has 5 units in it. There's one entrance. How is that going to work?
Yes, it's a central hall. So they will have one entrance and they go up the stairs and the doors go off of that central corridor. And then there will be, this is an addition off the back to create the 5th unit, and that will have a separate entrance off the back.
And the other manor houses are configured similarly or differently?
Correct. No, they're similar. So you have this central corridor, generally runs down the middle of the buildings with the access off of either side, and the second story is generally the same.
Right. So those are 4 units each.
Correct.
And the management of this, it will be a condo board that will manage the rentals?
Well, initially the ownership will remain in the current ownership, and so they will manage and own all of those, but there will be and they will manage the property. That is the current proposal. But yes, under, the condo, creation of a condominium, you will potentially have a condo board if they were sold off at some time in the future, who would be responsible for the managing of the property, just like any other condo.
So the condo units will be developed but owned by the owner.
Correct.
Is that correct? And then just rented out
Correct.
until such time when they will be sold.
They could be sold at any time.
If and when they'll be sold at any time.
I have a question. You said that neither the Hamlet study or the plan suggest that a park is necessary at that location. I was wondering what the Hamlet study, if they made any recommendation to do this type of development?
Well, absolutely. It actually recommended the rezoning from, this was original VB, and rezoned it to HC, Hamlet Commercial, which specifically talks about having residential where Village Business did not. Going back to the 1970 master plan and subsequent updates to the comp plan, all talk about, and we do know the site is basically the entrance to, or the western entrance to downtown, the Hamlet Center of Noyak. So the comp plans going back to the 70 all have talked about having higher density housing in your Hamlet centers where you have those services that can support that.
And the services that you believe can support that are?
Excuse me?
I'm just trying to understand the services that you believe are available in this area to support this type of density.
Well, the density comes down to a little over 4 units an acre. So I don't think the density is all that high when we talk about density, but there are some retail offices, mixed use facilities in and around, as well as the grocery store on the eastern end of the Hamlet Center that all serve the residential development, not just here, but the residential development in Noyak.
Talk to us a bit about the impact on Noyak Road. Are you going to be using, I think we brought this up when we met with you in a work session.
Correct.
Dennis, I think you brought it up, using Berkshire Drive.
Yeah, Dennis brought it up as a matter of
Funneling
fact.
all the traffic out of that one road.
Yeah, and at the time I said we would take a look at it. I know that's going to be one of the issues coming out of the pre-app report. Prior to submitting a final, we will be preparing a traffic study to determine what is the best and most efficient ingress and egress out of this site. The current design was trying to minimize the impact to the existing character, utilizing the existing driveway. It would definitely have to be widened. But to try to keep those alley of trees going down the driveway, minimize that impact to that character that currently exists, as well as develop the parcel in terms of the other 100-year-old pine trees that surround this site. Again, we took a look at what are the existing development on site and tried to fit the proposed development instead of just chopping this up into 9 lots. Or potentially we could have done it into 13 lots utilizing this provisions. But instead we've tried to keep the character of the existing site to the maximum extent possible by doing the adaptive reuse and preserving that 114 home, as well as develop with the 2 manor houses that is consistent with the architectural styles of the area, traditional architectural styles of the area.
Yeah, and it's ironic. I went down there after we talked, Kyle, and the sight lines actually improve as you go further east. That is right next to the restaurants. It's kind of like a bad sight line to begin with, you know.
Very.
So there might be some benefits to keep that driveway. If you had it cut onto Berkshire, I could just see traffic from all those development north cutting through this site to get a better sight line, you know. But the traffic study will take a look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, Charles, you said there are people waiting to speak?
I don't see any hands. Nope, I see no hands.
Wow.
If you wish to, okay, I got 1, 2.
Don't get off.
I thought you said there were a couple. Rosemary.
Yeah.
Barokia.
Yeah.
Okay, Rosemary.
She just has to put her video on.
Yes, I'm sorry. I wasn't responding to this particular application. I tried to respond to the previous one about Scudder Hole Road, and the map stayed up and I couldn't click on the raise my hand. So I don't know if I can still speak to that or the end of the meeting or what the protocol is.
Put it in a letter and get it to us. It's open for 30 days, written comment.
Okay, because I have some really serious concerns and we were not talked to, and we live right on that road that he's proposed.
Okay, put it in a letter. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You have someone else?
Yes. He's coming in now, Trish. Trish Curry. Put your video on, please. There you go.
Down the maps so we can see the speaker.
Hello, my name is Patricia Curry. I'm a resident of Noyak. I live at 48 Hillover Lane. I want to make some general comments about the development in Noyak, and specifically the proposal at 3310 Noyak Road. My neighbors and I have watched with growing concern in recent years the approval of what we see as oversized development in areas on or very close to our waterways in Noyak Bay, and as far as North Sea Harbor, actually. Of concern to me is that the town designates areas to be protected, only to later consider and often permit clear cutting of land and construction of even more oversized dwellings. Noyak residents are already struggling with the sand mine issue, and we are deeply concerned about the safety of our drinking water, not to mention wastewater disposal due to increasing population density in the hamlet. Just because you can have 500 residents per square mile doesn't mean that you should. That probably isn't the case in the village of Southampton, Why should it be the case in the hamlet of Noyak? It seems to me it's way beyond time that the town respects the designated aquifer protection areas and gives greater attention to waterways and wetlands. For example, along Noyak Road to North Sea, we've seen construction of oversized homes on what was undisturbed land, and some are very close to the wetlands. On the eastern portion of Noyak Road, on the very narrow stretch between Noyak Road and Paynes Creek, an area that surely should have been designated wetlands, several large homes have been constructed within the last 10 to 15 years. There's not even a shoulder on that portion of Noyak Road, and it's also at the junction of Stony Hill Road and a very, very dangerous curve, one of the most dangerous curves in the hamlet of Noyak. For the most part, these enormous homes replaced small one-level ranch houses, and new homeowners have closed off views and bay breezes by planting enormous non-native trees. The land is mere feet above water level, and the water waste goes where? I don't know. I assume right into Paynes Creek. One home built on formerly undisturbed land has severely restricted the view of oncoming traffic on that curve I mentioned at Noyak and Stony Hill Road. At the western end of Long Beach, many condo units were permitted right on the water. Where's that wastewater going? Right into Noyak Bay at one of the most popular area beaches? Perhaps it isn't, but I don't know that. It's a question many people ask. Farther west, the area has had major development, the commercial development at Berkshire Court and residential construction on Rogues Path. In a new residential development on Noyak Road, the one you mentioned across from the Bell and Anchor restaurant and marina, it appears developers clear-cut many parcels for those huge homes, and the parcel adjoining the marina, the former Warden property, is directly on the water and also appears ready to be developed. On Rogues Path near Trout Pond, on undisturbed land, many parcels were clear-cut to make way for McMansions, some of which remain empty for a good half the year. The developer also hacked down shrubs in Trout Pond Preserve to clear a view to the pond for the new homeowners. His motto is well known: better to ask for forgiveness than permission. So I don't know where the code enforcement is there in this area of Noyak. In each of these developments, native trees and shrubs, including protected laurels, were clear cut to, or nearly to, the property line. And if any of the areas were replaced with plantings, it was mostly with non-native species and very thirsty lawns requiring lots of water. No code enforcement visible there. Southampton Town apparently assigns little value to what would be classified as wetlands or to their aquifer protection district or to the preservation of native species, as the areas mentioned above were afforded no protection on any of those things. The proposed development of 13 multifamily dwellings in multifamily manor houses, replacing a single family home, and on less than 2.5 acres is, to say the very least, to most of us, very disturbing in a designated aquifer protection overlay district and a New York State archaeological sensitive area. Traffic congestion is already a major issue on narrow Noyak Road, where large trucks and many cars regularly rocket around Trout Pond Curve and Serene Green Curve at dangerous speeds heading to Route 114. Our tranquil hamlet has been allowed to become a major traffic bypass with no visible enforcement of traffic laws that I've seen ever, or rarely. If any, it's at the Morton Preserve. The application under review for 3310 Noyak Road will, I'm sure, be thoroughly evaluated. But it should be not only for the environmental impact it will surely have on this area, but also the impact on quality of life of the current inhabitants of the hamlet of Noyak. And I ask that these comments be admitted to the record, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the application?
I see no other hands.
Anything from the board?
Yeah, Madam Chair. Kyle, what's the maximum occupancy of the two manor houses?
Maximum occupancy?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to have each are going to have three 3-bedroom units, and the other is two 1-bedroom units. So you could say 4 per each, so that would be 12, and another 2, so 4. So I would say 16 occupants. Now, if we want to compare the density from this proposal, which is substantially less than what would be done if we did single-family homes, if you had 9 4-bedroom at a modest size on each of the subdivision lots at 2,500 square foot homes, we're talking about 36 bedrooms. We're proposing 22 bedrooms. And you're talking 2,500 square foot homes at 9, that's 22,500 square feet. We're proposing here is 8,500 square feet, less than what would be built under an as of right single family home residential subdivision. So the issue, and when we're talking about 1 and 2 bedroom homes and the impacts to the groundwater, although the Suffolk County Department of Health is going to require IA systems, which are coming in at below 10 milligrams per liter, which is below the drinking water standards. But the amount of flow that's associated with this development is substantially less than on single family homes, which would each be 300 gallons per day. So 300 gallons times the 9 homes that you would have as of right would result in 2,700 gallons. Where these, you're talking 600 gallons, 150 gallons per unit. So 150 gallons times 13, which I haven't done the math, but times 13, we're only at 1950. So it's a substantial reduction in impact of the development that's proposed, and we're getting the benefit of 2 affordable units. And it is the intention of the owner at these rentals is to provide and market them to local workers and residents that are, year-round residents that are trying to downsize for people over 55. So I think this is really a development that really is conscious about all those concerns that the previous speaker just spoke about.
Kyle, are the affordable units the 1-bedroom units?
Hasn't been determined yet.
So they could be 2-bedroom units?
They could be 2-bedroom units. We haven't discussed the designation of the affordable.
Thanks. Any other questions from the board?
Are there any accessory buildings, clubhouse or?
No, actually the existing pool on site is proposed to be removed.
So there'll be no pool, no clubhouse.
No.
Thank you.
We are proposing to utilize the existing garage though for parking. inside the garage, so we are going to keep the garage structure, but there is no clubhouse, and the proposed pool, or existing pool, is proposed to be removed.
Okay. No more questions? Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you very much, board. Have a good evening.
Thanks. Entertain a motion for 30-day written comment period.
Motion.
Motion by Gloria, second by Craig. All in favor? Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor. Can you take your map down, please? Okay, so we've finished our agenda. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn by Dennis, second by Gloria. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Okay,